Today on The Outdated Musician, The Grateful Dead, overrated or underappreciated? Let's talk music. Hey everybody, Sean here, and I am The Outdated Musician. And today I just wanted to talk about The Grateful Dead. I myself, full disclosure, am a fan of The Grateful Dead, and I actually got the chance to see them several times, and I was there at Jerry Garcia's last show at Soldier Field. So, I've been, for quite a while, been a fan. And what I want to talk about is that I was recently reading some threads where people were pretty much saying Grateful Dead are awful. They sound like crap at times. And I just want to go on the record and say I myself think that they are underappreciated. And I'm just going to go through a couple different things about why I think they're underappreciated and maybe why people think they're not that good from times that they listen to them. And let's start with that. One is the Grateful Dead, unlike a lot of bands and nowadays where, some artists require you to check your phone at the door. They don't want any recordings, but the Grateful Dead welcomed recordings. In fact, that they sold a taper section. They had an area at shows where they would sell tickets and allow people to bring recording equipment to record them. With that means that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of the Grateful Dead out there that people traded. And that's one reason they got as large as they did, was that people would trade tapes. People would trade recordings of live shows. But we're all human. And as being humans, we err. And coming from a audio production background, I can tell you that the more you do something, the more you capture it, record it, you're going to capture those raw moments where, hey, as humans, we do mess up. But I could say this, you go and listen to some of those recordings when they were on, and it was just musical magic. It is musical magic. So, give them a break. If I recorded everything that you played, if you're a musician, all the time, every show, and I put it out there the way that their music got out there, we might, say, did you hear that? It's because we're human and we mess up and we err. So, I say give them a break on that. There's just so much out there, you're going to catch that. Another reason I think they're underappreciated is that from the 1960s through the mid-90s, the Grateful Dead were one of the largest grossing bands, touring bands in the United States. And for several years there, towards the late 80s and going into the 90s, they were the number one grossing live touring band in the United States. So, I think you have to give it to them. They had a huge fan base, and even though they never had much of their music hit mainstream, and it really didn't. They didn't have much hit the billboards or hit the numbers and hit the marks, but yet they were still able to create a scene and a culture where people still responded despite not being mainstream. And I think that says a lot about a band. And another reason I think that you need to give them some credit is their contributions to live music, because they did play that much. If you do a little research about the Beatles, and one of the reasons, it's credited and it's said that the Beatles broke up and stopped playing live is that because when they did their stadium show, the sound was so awful and that they couldn't hear themselves. And back then, the technology just didn't exist to play large shows to large audiences and for it to sound good. And I think you have to credit the Grateful Dead and others. And something that they did is that they had what was called the Wall of Sound. And the Wall of Sound was exactly that, a huge wall of sound speakers. And from that, you see the start of live shows playing, being able to play large events in large stadiums or in bigger places and sound good. And that was the early technology that has led to where we are now, where we have smaller systems that can fill the sound, that the musicians can hear themselves playing. And I'm not saying that it's all just because of the Grateful Dead, but they had a part to do with that. They were part of that journey to where we are now, where, hey, we can go to these shows and they sound great. So you got to give credit to where it's due. So, let me know, guys, in the comments, one, if you're a Grateful Dead fan, or, if you're not, because I find it interesting that it seems like people are either over the moon, dedicated fans, or people are like, man, they just suck. So, I'm just kind of interested in what people think. So let's talk music. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Grateful Dead. Are you a fan? And why are you a fan? If not, let me know why you're not a fan. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And until next time, have a grateful day.